Welcome back to the Rugby Connection podcast for the fans, by the fans. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, it kind of looks like the multiverse of madness here. I'm in a Sharks jersey, Cam is in a Quins jersey, and Harv is in an Edinburgh jersey, which I admire. There is a reason that me and Cam are wearing their respective jerseys. I don't know why Harv's wearing an Edinburgh top. I'm not against it.
Pure choice.
Well, to be fair, like you're both wearing it as a punishment. I think it's a punishment to be seen in an Edinburgh jersey. So,
fair enough.
I mean, I'm saying nothing. Your punishment comes next week. Anyway, for those that don't know, Harv and Cam made a wager 2 weeks ago in the Champions Cup that the loser between Quins and Sharks gets the opposite jersey. Well, Quins won. So
Cam missed last week because he was just too busy crying.
I was actually.
So yeah, so Cam's got Cam's got a Quins jersey that he paid maybe too much money for.
Probably.
And me and Cam made a wager for this weekend that we'll go into shortly between Edinburgh and the Sharks, and it leads to a video on TikTok and Instagram, so I have a Sharks jersey on.
As you could see what happened.
Yeah.
Anyway,
before we get into all the fixtures from the Premiership and URC, how we getting on?
Yeah, not bad. Last weekend was dismal and I was dying, but I'm back stronger than ever.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Harv, how are you getting on?
Same old. I mean, I am living. I am surviving. That's better than I was about a month ago. So
just pure upgrades.
Yeah, that's fine. Nobody asks how I'm doing. Arseholes.
How are you, Murray? Go on.
Yeah, how are you, Murray?
I'm all right. Yes, thank you. I'm stressing out though because I've got 3 birthdays in 3 weeks, so it's all go.
Expensive times then.
Just give him like all the same. Just give him like a joint present.
Give them all a Sharks jersey. They'd like that.
No. Anyway, we're going to start off with the Premiership because it's just easier that way. So yeah, there's no reason behind it. Starting off Friday night, Sale Sharks getting a very tight win over Bath, 30 points to 27. On to Saturday, Leicester Tigers get narrowly defeated by their arch rivals, Northampton Saints, 18 points to 19. Saracens come from the death, essentially, and beat Bristol Bears, 20 points to 19. Exeter Chiefs beat Gloucester 24-17 down at Sandy Park. And on Sunday, dear oh dear for Harv, as London Irish put an absolute thumping on Harlequins, 42-24. Lads, what game shall we talk about in depth?
For me, I want to talk about Friday night.
I was going to say Bath versus
Yeah.
It's the only one that I watched in full because I heard all the hype around it.
Well, I mean, I don't want to talk about the Quinn. Well, I'm not a Quins fan, obviously. I'm an Edinburgh fan, but the Quins match would be fairly dismal to talk about, I'd say.
That's fair. Now we'll go for Friday Night Delight, and what a delight it was. I mean, Sale Sharks were in cruise control for the most part. 22-3 up at one point.
22-3 up.
Yeah. 22-10 at half time, and then it looked like Bath were going to get a famous win. It was 27-25, and the clock went red, and Sale Sharks just went, wait a minute, we're at home, we have the man advantage, go for it. And it worked. And yeah, I think if the kicking boots of Robert Dupree were actually on, it wouldn't have been close because his kicking was horrific. I think
he was missing all over the place.
Oh yeah, no, I've got like I think
2 from 9?
6 kicks he's missed.
2 from 8 then, sorry. But yeah, even still. On his 100th appearance as well. Ouch.
Yeah, shocking. You know what's even more shocking? Bath. Why do Bath? That is my question for the weekend.
What is Bath?
Why do Bath?
Why do Bath?
How many times has this happened this season where you think Bath are going to get a good win and then near to the end, they just can't seal out a game?
To be fair, I think Dupree definitely helped Bath in not deciding to score. I mean, he even missed the last conversion. I mean, come on, boy. Like,
Yeah, seal the win. Don't just.
yeah, see that, mate. Like, he's capped off probably like the worst of his 100 appearances.
I know of
Yeah.
all the games to have that, you do it on the big one. But I mean, I'm just going to go on to Bath quickly. Ben Spencer's try by Cameron, set up by Cameron Redpath.
Cammy Redpath was all over the place,
Right.
might I say.
Eh?
Cammy Redpath was all over the place, might I say. He's
It was so
like,
good.
not often do you like just watching the game. I was watching at work. Do you happen to just notice a player, you know, even if you're just casually watching the game?
Yeah.
But even though I was just sort of keeping an eye on it at work, he was everywhere.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It was beautiful to watch. And you know what? Fair play of Sharks. They are like in the mix for pushing for that title, and they done proper.
I'm fairly gutted with Bath not seeing this one. I mean, I know Quins are still a fair way off sale, but they are just above us in the table.
I get you. Shall we talk about just chucking in our game briefly?
Yeah.
The derby.
Listen, all the
Saints versus Leicester.
All the other games are closer, so I'd rather talk about those.
Yeah, no, I mean, Saracens came back from the dead, trying the 76th minute and in the 82nd minute to steal a win from Bears. Again, Bears and Bath are like in that same scenario of like, what does it take to get a win?
Do you just think if they're excluding maybe Chiefs, if you're in the West Country, you're just a little bit shit on holding on to leads?
Yes, that's
It
fair.
would seem that way this season, definitely.
100%. If you have that strange accent from over the West Country, then never say never.
Fair. Well, yeah, we'll leave it at that. But yeah, I'm going to touch briefly on London Irish, just because.
Oh, for God's sake!
We discussed
I thought we could go the whole episode, but it's fine. Go for it.
I'm not going to go. I'm not going to like punish you. I'm just going like we talked about last week that it did seem like Irish would get a big lead and Quins would pull it back. Although that second part just didn't happen. Irish just kept, this is fun, and then just kept going. And
listen, Quins do not Quins anymore. We're talking about obviously these teams blowing leads. We used to just jump onto these other teams' leads, but I don't know what happened today, if I'm brutally honest. I know obviously we'd have a fair few missing. There's actually more in the England camp than for quite a few years.
Yeah, well,
I think there's maybe 5 lads.
You've got quite a lot, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, well, 5 starters, 100%. So.
Oh well, but I mean, massive win for London Irish, well deserved. We have got some predictions to do quickly because even though, I missed a week. Never mind, ignore me. We'll go on to URC.
Straight on to URC,
yeah, URC. Friday night, Scarlets getting a big win over the Bulls, 37-28. Ulster absolutely running riot on the Stormers, 35 points to 5. On to Saturday, Benetton versus Munster, 30 points to 40. Munster get a big win in Italy. Dragons hosting Glasgow Warriors. Glasgow just too strong for them, getting their 9th win on the bounce, 42 points to 28. Leinster doing Leinster things, 38-14 over Cardiff. What to do? Edinburgh coming up just short against the Sharks at the Dam, 22 points to 19. Connacht absolutely blowing out the Lions, 43 points to 24. And Sunday, probably the tightest game of the weekend.
Oh, gutted.
Maybe second tightest, actually. Ospreys getting a smidge win against Zebra, 28-24 Zebra, still without a win. Lads, I know where I want to go.
Yeah, I think there's one game
that
has to be spoken about.
Edinburgh versus Sharks.
Maury, I'll give my 2 cents, but I'll let you talk about it as you were there.
I was there, yes. And regardless, I'm going to just chuck it in here. Regardless of the result, very special for me personally, as I took my father-in-law, and it was actually his first game. So there we go. Yeah, but this game made 0 sense. I mean, obviously, South Africa's side and the Sharks front up very physically. Oxen and Chi is an absolute unit. I've never seen him in person until this weekend. He is a mountain. But Sharks 14-0 up, 25 minutes in. It looks like they're just going to have too much fun with it. And then Edinburgh, out of thin air, take the lead at half-time to 19 points to 14. And might I say, how good was Henry Immelman?
He was all over the place. I have to give it to him. Honestly, I was watching him thinking this man is going to dismantle our chances of winning. But what was it? Absolutely dirty 50-22 that resulted in one maul try. And then he goes, scores one himself. You know, I feel like before when I've watched Immelman play, he's sort of, he's good, but he's not a standout.
It's like he holds himself back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This game, he really shone through. And I mean, it was so close to, you know, Edinburgh getting the win. And I think he was key with that. I think the Bulls will be licking their lips at the prospects of him going to them next season.
I mean, just briefly, because it was actually you that mentioned him to me. How about Charlie Shield, the replacement scrum half for Edinburgh?
What a player. Talk about an impact player. 3 clean breaks he made. Well, I say unfortunately. Fortunately for me, Edinburgh weren't able to make any of them count. Yeah.
Thanks.
But yeah, you've got to. Sometimes you've just got to put your hands up and say that's a hell of a player, you know. And Edinburgh having a weapon like that on the bench, fair play. You know, really, really good talent. Talking about scrum halves, somebody that I will stand by till the day I die, Grant Williams, scored the opening try of the game. He's done this, I think, 3 times this season now with a cheeky little intercept. I don't think there's a faster scrum half in the league.
That's fair. Yeah, no,
he's just lightning quick. And listen, Hendrickse is a brilliant player, and he's definitely more of I'd say a classic South African scrum half. But God, you've got to give Grant Williams a shot in the Springboks colours, because I don't know, the Sharks themselves just look so much more deadly when he's playing.
That's fair. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
But
yeah, no, fair play. Entertaining game,
really chaotic game, all over the place, and you know, we just about squeaked the win. So
yeah, what game would you like to mention, Harv? Just briefly.
Oh well, looking at this, I think I'm gonna go for Ospreys.
Today's game, I was hoping you'd say that one.
Bit of a shame.
Very much so.
When does Zebre? When will they win, man? Like it's actually.
Another situation if they can't close out that game.
I reckon, like, you know how it all just, you know, when they just get the wins that are completely like out there, they don't expect them at all. They're going to beat Leinster at the RDS.
Scenes.
Absolute scenes. That would genuinely be. I think, like, if rugby didn't exist the day afterwards, I'd be happy. Like, that being
if rugby ended on that note,
match,
we could all rest easy.
Like, we'd all just be like, it was a beautiful sport in its time, or we had the best ending possible.
And that would cement Zebre as the greatest team ever.
I'm very confused with Zebre because, like, they've not had a win all season, and now they do show glimpses that they can do it. I mean, I did a video during the week that out of the 16 URC teams, 15 of them are in the knockout stages of both Champions and Challenge Cup. The only one that's not is Zebre.
Yeah.
But listen, they come like, I can't even think, they come like fairly agonisingly close. That's the thing. They have a complete surge, right? Like from, what's it, the 20th to the 50th minute, it was all Zebre.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But just think about it, this season started really strong against Leinster and the Sharks, really close games. They had a really squeaky game against Edinburgh in the Dam. A game like this at home against the Ospreys, off the top of my head, there have been more, but I can't name them. But they've come close, but they just don't know how to win. They don't know how to close out a game. They don't know how to keep a lead.
It's just for the bells, really. Like, it is shocking, really. It is.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because you look at the other Italian team like Benetton, who are doing relatively well this season.
The greatest team of all time.
They are the greatest team of all time, in all fairness. How Munster beat them, I don't know. I reckon there must have been cheating involved somehow. Cause
it involves South Africans, doesn't it? Yeah.
Probably. But yeah, it's a shame. Zebre definitely have the potential there, but you know, you can say they have potential all you want. If they're not winning games, it doesn't really speak much, does it?
Genuinely, I think like I genuinely will say this now. I think if Zebre win a game, that's the turning point for Italian rugby.
That's fair.
That's
I
like
agree.
I know that like probably sounded like a joke. I genuinely don't like.
I understand what you
If we've got
mean.
two teams that can win games, then like Italians will be invested in it.
And to be fair, in the Italian national squad, there is a larger contingent of Zebre players in the squad this year than there were last year. You know, most of last year was mainly comprised of Benetton and then players playing in, say, the top 14 in the Premiership and whatnot. So,
It is what it is.
yeah.
If they can grow their home talents, then I think that's all good. But Zebre, please do win a game. Like
I'll win.
How many rounds have they got left? They've got like 6 rounds left to win a game.
Just do it.
I think they're playing at home next round. Like, just win it, man.
I'd love to see it. That would complete my URC season.
We're going to move on to the latest segment that we brought into the show, thanks to Cam, and it's random game of the week. Cam, since you missed last week, you can start with this.
I will start, and I think I'm gonna go. Let's have a look. Choose a random league from throughout the world. I'm gonna go to Portugal CN Honra League. And I'm gonna go for CDUL 54, AA Coimbra 10.
Oof.
Is there any reason why you're picking it?
I've picked this one because, to be honest, I didn't even realize the Portugal League on Flash Score ever before, and I've just seen it now. And that was the second largest margin.
Fair enough. I'm going to bring you to the Eric Lasser from the Netherlands.
My favorite domestic league.
Exactly.
Personally.
And I bring you it from the Eric Lasser losers stage, where Oystervik beat Hookers. Why are you? Beat Hookers. Where do you think they're based?
They have to be Amsterdam.
The red light district.
What was the score?
It was 23-20. Oystervik go second in the loser stage.
A dark day for all Hooker fans.
It's a horrible day.
Oh god.
What about you, Murray? What's your random game of the week?
So mine was actually a final,
Oh,
and it was the Tennent's Women's Premiership up here in Scotland.
yes.
Stirling County getting a famous win over Storfen Cougars, 27-8, giving them the Premiership. So well done them, and they actually got to play it at home as well. So
a nice homegrown random game.
yeah,
I like it.
Boys, I did kind of say we're going to do predictions, but we can't predict the URC or Premiership next week because it is the grandest stage of them all. Six Nations. Now, I mean, I'm excited. Everyone, who's not excited for the Six? I don't know what yous were doing.
I'm very excited for the Six Nations.
Mate, on it, this will make or break my year.
I love the Six Nations because I get to watch it as an Italian fan. Clearly, I get to watch the Six Nations as a neutral. It's like a stress-free tournament for me to watch. Where I'm not.
If anyone's been following the socials, we put up a poll, basically confirming whether Cam is Italian or whether Cam is Welsh, seeing as he actually has Welsh residency. And I can reveal to you now.
Oh God!
Are we going to make the final decision off of now?
No,
we should do it.
I'll do it.
I'll give you the update.
Yeah.
So
it was 50-50 when I looked at it last.
The poll has been up for an hour.
Yes. As of recording, yes.
With 40%.
Oh, it's changed.
Cam looks as if he will not be representing Italy.
Ah!
60% of people, as of now, say that Cam should represent Wales.
Yes.
So I'd say for the purpose of this video, it's not set in stone. For the purpose of this video, you're representing Wales.
Yeah. As of this moment right now, when we're recording this episode, you are Welsh for the next 6 weeks. I don't know if you
I think we should get on to predictions.
We've all right. No, we've got 3 games. I think we can go a little bit more in preview about it.
Yeah.
Got a bit to say about it.
I mean, everyone knows where basically every team is, sort of. So you don't have to give this big prolonged story.
Well, yeah. I think we were chatting for like 2 hours last year on every single team.
We went too long last year. We were all trying to argue and make our points. We're not doing that this year. So we're just going to get the big one out of the way first. France. France are in a very comfortable state, I think.
For me, France are in the top 2. Whether they win it or not will all depend on how they fare against the other team. Like that is.
Yeah. You know, I'd go one farther.
I think most people know which other team I'm talking about. It's this. There's no secret. Yeah. But do I see a potential for a Grand Slam? I'm gonna say if they win it, they won't win with a Grand Slam.
Okay.
I think there are some teams that can throw up some shocks.
Sorry, Cam, you go on.
I would agree with you this year purely due to the fact that their hardest game, which is against Ireland, last year they played at home. This year they're playing away. They're playing
at the Aviva.
I predict France to win it, but like I agree with you the fact that I don't see it being a Grand Slam this year.
Yeah, I don't know. It could come down to something like it could come down to something silly like the bonus points they get. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's going to be. I feel like it's going to be a more interesting Six Nations than it was last year, because I feel like last year we went into it knowing that Ireland and France were the front runners.
I also don't feel like every team is as polished as they'd like.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying it's going to be
oh, yeah, 100%.
Especially in a World Cup year. It's going to be a very telling Six Nations.
Oh, in a World Cup year, all they want to do is polish up for the World Cup.
Exactly.
I mean, I can say from obviously an England perspective that we are nowhere near the finished product, and obviously we've had a lot of.
No, I don't think there are any teams that are near a finished product, and that's including France and Ireland.
Do you think France is maybe, or Ireland, either one?
Are you going to say? Do you think they peaked too soon?
Yeah, I know, and I don't like being cliche, but like France did this.
It's a valid point to make because it's happened before. You look back in history; it's happened before.
I think France will be strong. Like whether they, I don't think they'll excel as much as they did last Six Nations.
No,
I think they're going to prove a point this year, and they've got.
But then I do think they are one of, if not the front runner for the World Cup.
That's fair.
I agree with you.
Whatever they do in the Six Nations it will not be an indicator of how well they're doing the World Cup.
Yeah, well, I mean, say that I could say that about every team. Don't look at the final standings of the Six Nations, but oh god, they're going to do this at the World Cup.
But you've also got to take into account at the World Cup, every game is a home game for them.
Yeah.
You know, how massive of a part will that play?
Oh, 100%. And fans are mental. They're mad.
Yeah. Well,
they are the best rugby team in the world, in my opinion.
Create an atmosphere that goes completely against any other team.
Yeah, 100%.
And go for the other favourites, I imagine, in Ireland.
Yeah.
I think with there's something that's missing with Ireland, and I don't know how to explain it. I think they've got all their players in place. But we've seen this sort of time and time again from Ireland. Every single time we talk about peaking too soon, don't we?
Yeah. Look at 2018 before
2018 Ireland were world beaters.
Yeah.
Genuinely one of the most incredible teams I've seen. And quarterfinal loss in the World Cup. With relatively the same team.
but they've had this monster like 2022. The only difference is they didn't win the Six Nations. So is that now
Exactly. So is this a
Thing
fuel in
is-
the fire to win this Six Nations? However, do they peak too soon in 5 weeks?
by winning it and then bombing out the World Cup? Yeah,
exactly. You know, how is it just going to be the same old story of a quarterfinal loss?
I don't know,
in the
but
World
I've just realised we've put France and Ireland in the same bracket, so there's no point discussing it any further, really.
Cup? Okay, go on.
So we'll go for the country Cam wants to represent, but he's not getting to as of right now. We are going to pick out
my true allegiance, maybe not the one that I'll end up representing. Yeah, Italy this year. Obviously, last year they didn't have an amazing Six Nations. Obviously, they got the one win, but it was a pretty significant
But
win.
it was their first win in 7 years.
It was their first win in 16 games in the Six Nations. So, and it was in Cardiff against, granted, not the strongest Wales side ever, but it was a win in Cardiff.
A Wales team at the Principality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this year, I mean, looking at the rest of their 2022, they had ups and downs. They lost to the likes of Georgia. They had a pretty squeaky victory over Portugal, which probably should have been a bit more convincing. But then you look on the flip side, they absolutely demolished Samoa and they got recorded their first win against Australia.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they had a pretty good autumn nation. So I'm not saying you never know what to get with Italy, but they're going to be a spanner in the works.
I think slowly now we are more able to expect what we are going to get from Italy. They're becoming more predictable in a good way.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm gonna change it up a little bit, just because everyone knows what countries we're in and represent. Why don't we one of us discuss the opposite countries? So like,
wait, so Murray, you talk about. Wait,
I'll talk about England. You could talk about Scotland. Be nice this week.
You know what? I'll try and listen. I hate Scotland. I genuinely do. But
I said, what did I just say? I said, be nice.
I can be fair. Right, do you want me to just go? Right.
What a start.
I hope. Right. Let's get this out of the way. I hope Scotland crash and burn. Now let's get on to the real stuff.
Oh my God.
Let's get on to the real stuff. Scotland are. They are getting there. It's a very slow forward progress, but it hasn't seemed to have any setbacks. Obviously, I would say a strong Autumn Nations did show it up to the All Blacks, especially that was the game I watched. So again, fair play to Scotland. They seem to be going on an upward trajectory. It may be slower than they'd like, but it's still not going down. I think they're pretty set in what they have. My only concern now is mainly Finn Russell, and in the fact that he is a good player. He's an exceptional player, and we all know that. However, what are we going to get from him in 2023? We've had former incidents with him and whatever. And I'm not saying it's all to do with character, and sometimes his ego has maybe lifted him a bit too high off the ground.
Above the team almost, you're trying to say. Right?
He's a very unpredictable person rather than a player. So I genuinely think that if Finn Russell can stay Finn Russell, I'd say Scotland have a good chance. I'd say back three, Doohan, Darcy, and Stuart Hogg. Very, very good back three. And no matter how many remarks I make about Stuart Hogg, he is still a good fullback. Ali Price as well. It's very strange what we've had with Scrum Masters over the last few years. They've seemed to have chopped and changed in a lot of teams, but Scotland have stayed very consistent with Ali Price. So that'll probably that'll benefit them more than anything. Obviously, France have Dupont, but Scotland are kind of the next best thing. Not overall. I mean, scrum half.
Anyway, man. I'm not like disagreeing with like really anything you're saying. So fair play.
Okay, fair enough. If we're looking at forward packs, one thing I'm maybe a bit more critical of than I should be is Ritchie and Watson. Now, maybe a year or even 2 years ago, we would have said this is the best flanker pairing in the world.
Okay.
Maybe not over the All Blacks, but I would say they were at least top 3 in the world. I haven't seen too much else from Watson since.
He's had a rough time.
That might be me being a bit more ignorant towards his club ties and whatever.
Probably.
But I haven't seen as much from him on the world stage. I have seen Jamie Ritchie kind of rise above him, because we talked about Hamish Watson in 2019, 2020 as incredible in defence, absolutely brutal. But whether he seemed to slow down from that, I'm not sure. Jamie Ritchie has, I think, in my opinion, stayed consistent and will be quite a rock in the team. So I think that's always to look forward to. And also, I might as well just mention him, Pierre Schumann.
True. Did properly.
He's great, isn't he? Like, he is actually a good player. Let's be real. He is an incredible player. So yeah, I do think Scotland are strong. However, I think Scotland are a very strong team on paper, but I think a lot of their statements have question marks at the end of it.
Fair enough.
Scotland could surprise everyone and win the Six Nations, but they're also the team that are most likely to lose to Italy, if you get what I mean.
No, I get it, and this is what I like about Harv, because Harv, you say it like it is, and I know that I'm not like forcing you to say any of that. I couldn't even say that as best I could, like how you've just done that. So I highly praise you for that.
Thank you, Mario. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Do you want to get England over and done with? Because if I'm speaking about Wales, I'm going to be short and sweet.
You can get out your personal agenda first, like I did, if it makes you feel better.
England's a very strange one, because, I mean, all of this season in the show we've talked about it's daft to get rid of Eddie Jones because you're a year from the World Cup, and then, well, apart from Harv, because Harv has like doing better, but you know what I mean, like a big six team don't really get rid of coaches unless it's drastic, and they've done it. They've got Steve Borthwick. This is Steve Borthwick's first tournament as England head coach.
It'll be his first game.
All of his games will be his first this year, so it's going to be interesting. Is he the right man? I don't know, and I'm not just saying that. Like, he's not been on the international stage. No one knows what he can do.
Yeah,
the RFU have put that much faith in Steve Borthwick that they've actually changed the policy.
I don't want to cut you off there, but I just think that this, in my opinion, I do think Steve just needs to get a consistent team together.
That's fine.
Like a team. I know there are a lot of England players who are very divided. Players like Marrow who said, change was needed. And it does sound like Eddie had split the dressing room. A lot of players didn't have confidence. A lot of players did. You do need players to be on one side.
Yeah. So what I was going to say was, like, it's untapped potential with Steve Borthwick. We know he's a good coach with Leicester Tigers. He won the Prem in his first crack at it. But from what I've read and what I've heard, the RFU aren't going like, you need to win the Six Nations. You need to win or get to a World Cup semi-final. It's no, take it game by game. Focus on Scotland. Just focus on Scotland. Right. Scotland's done. Right. Now focus on Ireland, Wales. Take it game by game. And I think I love that. I don't get on any, whether it's All Blacks, Fiji, bloody Georgia, Portugal, Costa Rica. I don't care. I don't get why you have these big long plans and then get really disappointed when it doesn't work. Just look at the game in front of you, and then regardless of what happened in that game, whether you win, lose, or draw, you've got this next game. And then,
fair enough. You didn't, you don't win a tournament without winning games, so you have got to look at each game as it is, really.
Yeah, last thing I'm going to say, just before we chuck over to Cam, just key players. And his names came up a few times in the last few weeks. It's Owen Farrell. The Smith-Farrell 10-12, it doesn't work.
No.
Farrell said in an interview, I don't know if he was just doing that just to get people talking. He got asked, does he prefer 10 or 12? And he's always said he sees himself as a 10. So there you go. And I mean, he's got 100 caps for a reason. And that's not throwing shade at Marcus Smith. Marcus Smith is the future. But if Owen Farrell's it's like the whole, it's going to sound weird. It's like the whole Ireland thing with Sexton. Like Sexton is the
heir to the throne, yeah.
Yeah, so Farrell is the guy for England. Marcus Smith will be the guy, but just not right now.
Right.
And that's okay.
Listen, mate, I you know how much I love Marcus Smith. I've been saying it to you since the day I met you. I've been saying it since before I met you. I've been saying it since Marcus played his first game in a Quinn shirt. That I bloody love him.
He is special, but he's not there yet.
Owen Farrell is the man.
He is. And I am very wary of how Borthwick picks a team because you've had a hell of an amount of injuries. But I am looking forward to it. And I'm just going to do what Harv did. I don't really care what England... You can win every game, bar the first one, and I'm happy. So there you go. Cam.
Yeah.
On your residency.
On my residency, listen, I'll make it short and sweet. Wales have the most to prove, I feel like, the Six Nations, because they've had by far the poorest 2022. They didn't do well last Six Nations. Ultimately, they lost a tour against South Africa, and their autumn was overall, except to win against Argentina, was a bit of a shambles. And obviously, losing to Italy at home, it's obviously it's embarrassing.
I don't know even what was worse between Italy or Georgia.
I was just going to say that.
Of course, Georgia as well. Yeah, losing to Georgia at home. They've got rid of Pivac. Controversially, they've got Gatlin back. A lot of people are divided by that. People say you shouldn't go back to an old coach. People say we don't want to go back to Warren Ball. But then people saying, listen, we won games with Warren Gatlin, which is a very valid argument in its own, in my opinion. But I think what Wales need to do now, similar to what Murray was saying with England, is an air of consistency. They need to get a bit of identity back. Under Pivac, they were trying to play this classic Welsh style of magical running rugby and scoring beautiful tries, whereas under Gatlin, everyone was getting bored of so-called Warren Ball, which was very direct physical rugby. I feel like this year they need to just find something that works for them, especially leading up to a World Cup. They need to find something that works for them, and they need to implement it and be consistent with that. Now, listen, it's not like they're short of talented players. You've got young players like Jack Morgan coming through the ranks, who I think is going to have a similar... I think we had Tyne Basham last year in the Six Nations, who came through, was going to be this amazing player. He's sort of fallen off the edge of the earth. I'm not sure through injury or not. But a player like Jack Morgan now, you've got young players like Kieran Hardy, coming through, very good players. So they've got the talent there. I think just the key for them is finding the consistency and finding something that gets them back to their winning ways.
Yeah, there we go. Right, we're going to round it off with predictions for round one of the Six Nations. Don't think about it. Just say who's going to win and by how many. Right, Harv, Wales or Ireland?
Ireland by 21.
Jesus Christ. Cam?
Ireland 32, Wales 25.
Ooh, I like it. I'm going to go full house here. I'm going to go Ireland by 6, because bear in mind it is in Cardiff. Now, this is where me and Harv are not friends anymore. England versus Scotland.
I unfortunately will not be watching this because of work commitments. But when I come out of work, England will have won by 4.
Ooh, okay.
It's always a scrappy one against Scotland. I can't think of the last Scotland match that was absolute ropes in terms of scorelines.
That's fair. Cam?
I've gone for England 26, Scotland 24.
You suck!
I don't know what that noise was. It sounded like a pterodactyl.
You know what? Bugger the pair of you. Scotland, because we've got you in our back pocket in the last few years. Scotland, it's going to be close. I agree with her. Scotland by 3, and we keep the Calcutta Cup for the 3rd year on the bounce. But before I go into the next game, we have a wager. If you remember, if you were been with us since last year, if England beat Scotland somehow, I will wear an England top on next week's episode.
Yeah.
But if Scotland win and everything in the world makes sense again, Harv will wear a beautiful blue Scotland jersey.
And this is brilliant because there is true hatred from both of you.
Well,
neither want to do it.
I feel like Murray was being fair earlier. He was saying I couldn't care what the rest of you guys do for the Six Nations. I care. I want Scotland to lose every single one.
If you win every game, apart from if you get beat by us and then win every other game, cool. Still won't root for you, but I wouldn't put me up or down if you win the rest of them. Anyway, bugger you, you're getting beat next week. Calcutta Cup is ours. Lastly, Italy versus France in Rome.
Italy are going to win more games than Six Nations, but unfortunately this isn't going to be one.
I was about to say he was going to give us like shock of a lifetime here.
No, I'm going to say France 31, Italy 17.
France by 15.
15, okay. You want a shock factor?
There's going to be a mad result coming here.
Italy by 1. Last minute drop.
Honestly, Murray, please.
BC beats,
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Get the Six Nations off to a flyer with Italy beating France. It probably won't happen, but we can dream. Anyway,
I'm all for that. Thank you.
Imagine if Italy just win the Six Nations. How fucking I'd cry.
Nations win the World Cup.
Yeah, fucking win it all.
This is like Italy's year.
as a
Then
dream.
Benetton win the URC.
They've been hiding this for us like all the time.
It's been an absolute.
They recalled Sergio Parise out of nowhere.
Capuzzo was actually a lab experiment.
Well, boys, it's been an absolute pleasure. We've discussed Premiership. We've talked about URC. We've done a fair bit of in depth on the Six Nations without being too nasty to each other, which is nice. It's the War of the Words come out next week. He's putting out a card in front of a camera. It's pathetic.
Also, guys, can you please go vote in the poll? Please vote for. It'll be over by then, won't it?
It'll be over by then.
If any out of you vote for
point,
Wales,
mate.
out of any of you watching, if you vote for Wales, you're fucking terrible people. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Terrible person.
Anyway, we'll go leave it at that. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channels. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. I mean, the podcast is on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn. I think I know how to operate it now. I'm still not convinced, but we're getting there.
Man's learning.
Thank you. We're on TikTok. Follow us all separately on Instagram and TikTok as well. Maybe not so much. Harv's kind of give up on the TikTok sort of thing.
He's committed his whole life to the podcast.
I thought you meant don't follow me.
No, you don't do TikTok anymore.
No,
so.
but honestly,
No,
probably
no,
best
no,
not to
don't.
follow Harv.
No, so like, comment, share, subscribe, get the word out. And I mean, we've got more interviews coming out. We've got Liv McGovern coming out as soon as the episode actually uploads. I don't know what's going on with it, but Exeter Chief, and she was a great laugh. So hopefully that comes out very, very soon. And yeah, we'll see you next week discussing all the ups and downs from what is guaranteed to happen in the Six Nations.
Murray will be wearing an England shirt.
No,
All right,
I won't.
thank you very much. Goodbye.
I'll be wearing